I woke up and it was just like, something's happening, something's coming. Boom, 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 boom. And I was like, oh my God, love. I was like, oh, go open the door, like someone's here. So he goes downstairs and he opens the door a little and all I see is gun and a flashlight. And then they just kick it open, boom, and I see him flying to the ground. And then I'm losing my mind, because I'm gonna lose my kids. Right away, I grabbed my baby. So I covered him with a blanket because I didn't want to see him with his dad, being arrested. My husband grew weed, and he used to run cases of tobacco. I was like, love, we're done with this. We're gonna do it my way because we've done it your way for so long.
The Aboriginal food that people have come to know was never us.
Indigenous cuisine is not Indian tacos. It's not Bannock.
It's from this land. Introduce it to the world.
I kind of want a journey to reinvent Indigenous cuisine as we know it today.
So after all that went down, I pursued my business full time. I took care of the kids here and supported my hubby while he was at school. So I basically was a single mom here, just doing what I had to do. There's no choice about it. It was just I need to get this done. And this is the only way I know how, is to just one step at a time. I know how to cook. This is smoked moose meat right here, so I'm gonna make it a soup because it's the onanyuk, the calves of the moose. When I discovered the catering part, man, I know how to do this, and that's what kind of, steered me to go into culinary school. And that's when I decided, I want to work with food. Okay, once this is cooked down, just add some water to it after a bit. Cook it for about 2 minutes. I'm gonna go get the moose gut now. I think bush cooking is the closest form of Indigenous cooking because it's so simple. We braise, we smoke, we dry all of these items, and that's how it would be served. You wouldn't add wine or shallots and herbs, and that's what I like about my cooking, because I'm a simple person, and that's how I want my cooking to be and my recipes to be. Fort Mac is known for two things: tar sands and the devastating fire. But I know there's more to that story.
Today, and it's a beautiful thing. So we're gonna come back with more of Impact right after this. I'm in traffic that's barely moving. I could have walked faster, and the fire is in my rear view mirror, hundreds of feet. And to my right was a gas truck, a tanker truck, and the fire. And I was like, oh God. It hit the outskirts of Fort McMurray. It was like driving into the apocalypse. The smoke was a mile high, and it was like, oh my God. And it's hard to quantify in your mind, well, what does 80,000 people leaving a community really look like? And it's pretty significant. All right, you're rolling, Bob?
Ready to go.
Awesome. Good morning and welcome to Impact. Russell Thomas in the studio today, and it's my pleasure to introduce Cezin Nottaway to the studio and to Fort McMurray. You're from Quebec. Mm-hmm. What's different? What did you see, experience, or hear about that was really cool and interesting to you?
When I stepped out, I seen the trees had burned. I seen the growth of it, and I was like, wow. Even though Mother Nature destroyed, she also was just abundance of green and giving, you know what I mean? Like she gave to us after she destroyed. I feel like I have like such a connection with fire. When it's small, it's like medicinal. When it becomes into this huge form, it's like so powerful and you can't control it. It's just Mother Nature, you know what I mean? You don't mess with her.
Can I share something with you? The other thing that happened is that communities like Fort McMurray First Nation 468, Janvier, they exploded in population because the city of Fort McMurray evacuated, and those communities hosted thousands and thousands of people. And people opened up their homes and cooked for people. It was beautiful. So in the midst of tragedy, there was great beauty and generosity. I still get teary-eyed thinking about it.
I know.
2 years later. Wow.
Whoa, this is getting deep there. Russell. Stop it. With the collapse of the oil industry, Fort McMurray 468 First Nations were one of the first communities to see the potential in large-scale marijuana production. Chico is not only a long-time medicinal weed supporter, she is also a major badass. She runs a catering business and is excited to share her weed butter with Brian and I. Trout's on the menu, and Brian is going to be my sous chef sidekick as we cook this fish with birch syrup over an open fire. It's like a mixture of like molasses and syrup. So I think the way I'm going to cook this piece of trout is I'm going to kind of like cut like this and do like little, I'll show you. I didn't know they were gonna have a grow up here. It's when I first got here that that's when I found out. And I thought it was pretty cool. I'm all for taking something that the creator has offered in its pure form and doing something with it and making a better life of it. Excellent. So I'm just gonna like place it over like so. And I'm gonna take some of this beautiful onions. I'm just gonna kind of like use it as a garnish like so. Hey.
But it's some pot butter.
Oh,
I
yeah.
made this last night. Like I said, it's an acquired taste. Not everybody likes marijuana edibles, you know? But I like it. Did you want to try some, Brian?
I'm fine.
Oh, you don't like the marijuana edibles or just the marijuana?
I haven't acquired the taste yet.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be a long time until cannabis is accepted as a legal substance in the community. Breaking bread is a good place to start. So do you think this would be a good opportunity to be self-sufficient?
It can be.
Yeah.
Like I know the potential's there, but I'm skeptical. I mean, I hear about medicinal, then I hear about recreational, and the only thing that rubs me the wrong way is when somebody's using it recreationally and they're trying to mask it with medicinal. That bugs me.
Recreational, I can't say I'm against it because I used to be a pot smoker, and if my kids were to do it, I would just let them know, you know what, if you guys choose this, like be responsible about it.
You know, like recreational, you know, I can't say anything either because, you know, like you said, I used to use at one point in my life. My thought is, you know, addiction is addiction is addiction.
Yeah.
It's no good.
Yeah.
And that's where you're going to have trouble.
Yeah. I like using cannabis as a pain management, you know, because I have a lot of problems with arthritis, and I find it really dulls it and takes the edge off it. And then, but like you said, there is a fine line between recreational and, you know, and medicinal. I think I've crossed that line several times.
Danced on it? There's two sides to every story. And one thing we can agree on is keeping our forests, lakes, and rivers clean.
I tan hides for a living, and the biggest reason for it is because I depend off of that in its natural state. And we have every right to protect it. That's our livelihood. The same way anybody working out here in any oil field plant depends off of that industry. I depend on that forest in its natural state. And I'm always going to say in its natural state. I don't want it to change. and I'll do whatever it takes to keep it that way. And that's what I wanted to share before you guys left.
That was so
That
deep.
was so powerful.
That was, man.
Sweet.
Friggin' right, man.
That's really
My thoughts about what Brian said in that last moment, it was just, I think that's where I was just like, boom, like connected. You know, it was just like solidified, like who we are as an Anishinaabe people, because what he believes in is what I believe in. He relies on the nature, like for his livelihood, and that's the same with me. You know, I need the moose, I need, I need the cedar tea, the Labrador tea, I need the maple trees to be able to, do what I do. And it was such a simple message: protect the earth, protect the forest, because without it, like, what is it? Sometimes a crisis brings out the best in people. Surviving the fire wouldn't have been possible without the support of neighboring communities. I'm here to visit the volunteer firefighters of Janvier to get a first-hand look at what it takes to fight a fire.
One house went.
Don't say that! Okay, I'm ready. Let's go fight some fire.
Come on. Jump right in.
All aboard! Dude, this is... We're ready!
Come on, crack her open, come on. There you go. You got that? Okay, crack her again.
Oh my god, I did it!
Open her up. You got you. I got you. See, there you go. See, now, Jeremy, let go for a second. Yep. There's the forester right here by itself.
Oh my god.
Okay. Yeah.
That was so awesome.
You're only 3/4 full.
I had to feel those guns.
Oh, yeah.
Damn.
And plus being from the community is even more, because we're all related.
Yeah.
Or we know the people, so we work extra hard. And again, like, that's all our training from Fort McMurray. Other places, like, these guys are all from all over the world.
I feel like I need a hug after that, man.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah.
Cezin Nottaway,
Nice to
the
meet
fire chief of Janvier.
It took about 2 years before we got this off the ground. And so our team is diversity because we have Koreans on this volunteer, and we have the Dene people in our community.
I just wanted to mention too, like, you have a
And-
junior
Yeah.
firefighter and then a woman as well. Just seeing you guys, like, come together and volunteering, and I'm super impressed with Mavis. It's like the woman, like, you inspire me, you know what I mean? Because you're a woman, you're working with these tough guys. I put on that suit and I held that hose, like, I thought about you, you know what I mean? When
I've worked in oil rigs, I've worked as a slasher, I've worked many jobs, and I thought, hey, I got an opportunity here to try this out. I might as well try it out. You don't know if you're gonna fail unless you try. So
I just, like, love surrounding myself with all of these positive, strong Anishinaabe women. And the women that help me in my business, they have, like, so much to offer in different ways, their strength, their beauty, their wisdom. This is the Athabasca River, a defining feature in this region where medicines and tea have been forged by indigenous communities for generations. I'm here with Cleo, an elder in the community who sees the importance of keeping this traditional knowledge alive.
Because we're picking some medicine today, or some tea, which is going to be our mint. I've got some tobacco, and we're going to give it to the earth in thanks for letting us use the medicine, which we will make into tea.
It's just such a indigenous thing to do, it's all about that tea, it's like, it like connects people.
It's really important that we keep our knowledge alive, and that we pass it on to, the next generation, so that people will always know what our traditional foods were and how we use them, and medicines. You know, whatever it is that the land has to give people and that they can use to help themselves, it's a very worthwhile and good thing to do, to keep this knowledge alive and to pass it on.
So your role is like to pass the traditions on. You're like my mom.
I just took that on myself. It's just something I believe in.
Yeah, that's like my grandmother was a medicine keeper, my
Yeah.
mom. Cleo, like my grandma and my mom are medicine women, and they carried the knowledge, so it was just like such a connection, you know, like you give off this energy and you kind of get back that energy. I've got one last stop to make in Fort Mac. A bush cook-off with Marie Cecile and a folk legend rock star Ronnie Guitar. What's on the menu tonight? Rabbit soup and beavertail. First memory that I, remember growing up in the bush is my kokam, like she's my grandmother. Summer kitchen. It was like the place to gather around. That's where it was happening, like morning, lunch, and evening. This is how my kitchen, like my Kokum summer kitchen looked.
Ooh, there you go.
Oh, I have to show up. Check it out, a baby rabbit. Still good to eat. For me, like the simplicity of the bush food is no spices, no fancy herbs. It's like, okay, you got your salt and your pepper and, cooking it on open fire, like meat and potatoes. That's it, not even any vegetables. You're lucky to get a carrot. This is the tongue of the rabbit, so I'm just about to eat it. I kind of like the cartilagey ears. I'm gonna eat that too. Ronnie Guitar is excited to share his killer old school Kokum recipe for beavertail.
I learned as I was growing up. I watched my mother do this, my grandmother. It's a delicacy. Mostly for old timers, they like it because it's fatty and it's easy to eat.
Yeah, see, the way my mom and my grandpa, my parents taught me was like it bubbles up in the flame, and then you were able to just peel it. But I'm digging this new way that you're showing me, because I think the flavor of the charcoal is gonna bring like another flavor, yeah. I didn't appreciate beavertail when I was younger, like you said, because, it was the older people that ate it. But now, like, the way I cook it, because I cook it in maple syrup, and I love maple syrup, that's the way I eat my beavertail now. It's like maple sugar-coated beavertail. When I got here, it was like, at first I felt like man, this is so sad. But at the same time, when I actually walked through, I seen so much beauty, because I just seen that like small little flower, and I was like, oh, look at you, you're like such a fighter. And even though like all of this fire came here, like you were able to just push through and become this beautiful little flower. That's me. The world is this fire, and it could get ugly. Sorry. Let me just get it together. It's emotional because I feel like a lot of the times in my life I just felt like I'm just an Indigenous person. Like, how can I make a difference? And working my ass off, being passionate about what I do. I didn't think it would be able to take me places where I am today, and I still get like, oh my God, I did this, and I'm doing it. So I'm going to take off my modesty hat, like my, my humble hat, and I'm going to just say that I'm what I know how to. I'm a bush cook, and I'm not fancy at all. I know how to butcher a moose. I know how to do beaver. I know how to clean it. I know how to snare a rabbit. I am a hoop dancer. I am a mother. I am an aunt. I am a sister. I am a proud Anishinaabe woman. And I know how to work hard.